Thinking about moving to Phoenix for the endless sunshine and desert lifestyle? Hold your horses. Before you spend thousands of dollars packing up your life, driving across the country, and settling into what you think is your dream area, you need to hear this. I'm about to share the harsh realities that no one's talking about. The things that are making even long-term residents pack up and leave. Because there's nothing worse than uprooting your entire life, saying goodbye to friends and family, only to realize 6 months later that you've made a huge mistake and you hate where you live. Today, we're talking about the uncomfortable truth about living in Phoenix. Now, don't get me wrong, I love this city and I help people move here every day. But after watching countless families struggle with the transition, I believe you deserve to know exactly what you're getting into before you make one of the biggest decisions of your life. And let me tell you, what you see on those perfect Instagram photos of desert sunsets and resort-style pools, that's not the whole story, not even close. Let's start with the elephant in the room, the heat. Phoenix summers aren't just hot, they're record-breaking stay inside or risk heat stroke hot. Imagine months of daily highs over 110, nights barely cooling to 90, and relentless sun that even the locals dread. In 2024, we hit a record-breaking 113 consecutive days of 110 plus degree temperatures. That's more than double what we had in 2023. 61 of those days went over 110 degrees. Let that sink in. Your car will feel like an oven, and I mean that literally. You'll need oven mitts to touch your steering wheel if you park outside. Those beautiful hiking trails you see on social media, they're basically off limits from May through September unless you're up before dawn. And even then, we have to rescue tourists every single week who underestimate our heat. Want to grab the mail? Better do it before 10 a.m. Want to walk your dog? Hope you bought them special shoes because the pavement can literally burn their paws. And forget about those lovely outdoor patios at restaurants. They're ghost towns all summer long. Now, let's talk money because this might be the biggest shock of all. Remember when Phoenix was known as an affordable alternative to California? Well, those days are slowly diminishing. Your power bill in summer, expect $400 to $500 or more per month just to keep your house at a livable temperature. And that's okay if you're keeping your thermostat around 78 degrees. Want it cooler? You better add a couple $100. Housing prices have been by far the biggest source of increase in cost of living. Since 2020, our median home prices have skyrocketed from $315,000 to $450,000 today. That's a 30% increase, and for some, their wages have not kept pace, making the dream of home ownership a pipe dream. Groceries, we're running about 4% above the national average, with the average household spending about $272 per week. Gas prices, this summer, they were almost 40 cents higher than the national average due to the demand with the warmer weather and weather systems across the country that impacted the transportation of fuel. Speaking of evaporating, let's talk about space, or the lack of it. Since 2020, over 300,000 people have moved to Phoenix. Think about that. That's like dropping the entire population of Pittsburgh into our valley. All of these new residents mean our infrastructure is bursting at the seams. Remember when you could get across town in 30 minutes? Now that same drive can take over an hour. I had a client who bought a beautiful home in Queen Creek thinking his commute to North Scottsdale wouldn't be bad. 3 months later, he was calling me about selling because he couldn't handle spending 3 hours a day in traffic. And while they are trying to fix the situation with the highways, this now means construction everywhere for what seems like forever. Literally, entire sections of the highways are closed all weekend. It is a nightmare to get from point A to point B, while also taking the longest route humanly possible to get to the other side of town. There's also lots of talk about the strain on our water resources for the future. If you want more insights into that, be sure to check out this video. If you're coming from a city with good public transportation, you're in for a rude awakening. Phoenix is a car-dependent city, and our public transit system, well, let's just say it's not winning any awards. Our light rail, it covers about 30 miles total. That's it. Compare that to Denver's 60 miles of track, and we're way behind. Buses, hope you like waiting in 115-degree heat because service can be sporadic and routes are limited. You absolutely need a car here, but that means you'll be joining the thousands of other cars cramming onto our highways during rush hour, which nowadays seems to last from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Just when you think you've figured out the traffic patterns, tourist season hits. From January to May, our population swells with snowbirds and spring training fans. Old Town Scottsdale, good luck finding parking. Want to play golf? Better book weeks in advance. While that's great for the economy, it's not great for residents. Think higher prices, packed venues, and traffic even worse than usual. If you live near popular events like Phoenix Open or Barrett Jackson, you might feel like you're living in a theme park, but without the fun. Here's what the travel brochures won't tell you. Our homeless population has grown significantly, and it's becoming increasingly visible in Phoenix. When I first moved here in the early 2000s, this wasn't really a major concern. Now, it's something my clients ask about constantly. Areas around downtown Phoenix that were once bustling with shoppers and diners are seeing significant changes. If you're walking around the Human Services campus, you'll notice tent cities that weren't there just a few years ago. Parts of Mesa and even areas of Scottsdale are experiencing similar challenges. And it's not just downtown. We're seeing impacts in our public spaces and parks. Margaret Hance Park, which hosts many of our cultural events, has become a gathering spot for our unhoused population. Some of our library branches, particularly in Central Phoenix, are struggling to balance being public resources while managing the increasing number of people seeking shelter from the heat. The city is working on solutions, but like many fast-growing cities, our infrastructure and social services are struggling to keep up with the need. This has led to increased tension in some neighborhoods, particularly when new shelters or service centers are proposed. The political climate. It's intense. Arizona has transformed from a reliably red state to a purple battleground, and you can feel the tension everywhere, from school board meetings to neighborhood Facebook groups. I've never hated the term swing state as much as I have the past 8 years. If you're hoping to escape political division, you won't find that refuge here. Now, I know all of this sounds pretty grim, but here's the thing. Thousands of people still choose to move here every year, and many absolutely love it. I mean, I've personally been here almost 15 years now. Our winters are incredible. The sunsets are breathtaking, and yes, you'll never have to shovel snow again. The key is knowing what you're getting into and choosing the right area for your lifestyle. If you live in Phoenix now or have lived here in the past, drop a comment and let me know what you think. Anything else you'd add? If you're still considering making Phoenix your home, be sure to check out this video next.